Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Sales Talk Show. I'm Billy Butts, and my co-host here, David Lammers. David, is that the right way to pronounce it? I mean, we've only known each other for a year, and we've
I,
only met
I love it.
on LinkedIn. Is that right?
I love it. I love that. That's how real this is, right? That is it Lammers? Is it Lammers? Right? I think
I,
if you're
I
in
gotta,
French,
I want
Quebec,
to put my
Canada,
Canadian
maybe.
accent on, and try and see if I can give a little Lammers. You know,
Yeah, maybe for my French Canadian friends, it's Lammers, right?
Lammers. That's what
but
I don't know. I was thinking of all the hockey players I knew that had the last name that sounded like that. I was trying to pull it
that's
off,
right.
but hey, here we
That's right.
are.
David Lammers.
This is exciting. So a little bit about today's episode and the episode of that'll be coming up. A little bit of the lay of the land. We're going to do a little intro. Uh, Talk a little bit about the podcast, how it came to be. We're going to get a chance to meet David and I. Quick interviews for both of us, how we get into the industry, and what drives us every day. And then we've got a learning episode, a learning segment, I guess. It's going to be talking a little bit about business development and the customer experience. And then we're going to chat a little bit about the next podcast. So we know everybody's got a busy schedule. Hopefully you got it on the background. You're still working. You're still, doing prospecting. Maybe you're on the road. But we're going to keep it under an hour for you. And we want to make it fun. If you guys know me, and you'll get to know me. I love what I do, and I like to have fun doing it. So that's going to be the theme of this podcast, and just really really excited. David, you want to kick it off and just tell us a little bit about how this whole thing came together?
Yeah, I think that's where it starts, Bill. Because I'm going to start with that on your name, because you want to have fun. You're a guy who loves to have fun, and I love that your name that you go by is Billy. And I would love for you to even share with us at some point some background on that, because I think it's probably some background there on why you're Billy. And but that was my observation. I'm like right from the very beginning. I'm like, this guy's not Bill. This guy's Billy, and I like this guy. He's down to earth. He's a big, tall guy, and I can see that he loves people, and he loves to be known by Billy. And Bill, I've been a fan of yours for probably 2 years now, going. And I think that whole first year was just a year of us getting to know each other. And I think you and I connected on LinkedIn, of course, at first, and we were watching what each other we were doing, and I got really excited about connecting with you. And after about a year, you reached out to me. I think I reached out to you, or you reached out to me, and you're like, we should chat sometime.
Yeah.
And it didn't really transpire. Our schedules were busy, and I think almost another year went by. And we just kept watching each other and seeing what we're doing and having a lot of fun together on LinkedIn, and observing each other's stories and the similar nature of our stories, the commonality that we have between each other, not only as individuals, but our organizations. And our passion for people, and our passion, of course, for sales. So you and I, of course, connected at the end of last year and this concept about we should do something with this passion. We should do something with this excitement that we have for sales, for people, and for also leading the next generation. And, so many of you who are listening today know Billy, you know his background. And so, there's a lot that you already know about Billy, but the excitement of this opportunity is that we're just going to get to know each other so much more. And who we are and what we're all about. And so, so this is just a homegrown passion that's spurring on why we're doing this today, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just to remind everybody else, we are doing this live. So as you all make mistakes in your roles, whatever your role is, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to learn from mistakes. I think I learned from a coach a long time ago. It's not winning and losing; it's winning and learning. So we're gonna have some wins today, and we're gonna learn a little bit today about how to execute a live podcast. But yeah, David, just to add to what you said, I mean, I was one of those individuals back when social media started to really come on the scene. I made a commitment that I wasn't going to be that guy that didn't understand it. I wasn't going to be that one that said I still have a flip phone. Like I didn't want to be that person. So I made a commitment. Probably in the mid 2000s, 2007, 2008, to really engage in social media and learn about it, and spent a lot of time on it. And I just have fun. It's just an extension of sort of my personality is how many people can I talk to, and how many conversations can I have in a day. But just the things that drew me to you were your brand was exceptional. The Garden Grove brand,
Mm,
presented it on social. It just jumped off the page at me as somebody that had a really, really good understanding of business. And I just wanted to get to
mm,
know. I just really felt like at this point in my career, locally, I know quite a few people. Um, it was interesting to me that you're from Canada. That kind of drew me a little bit in, and I said, why not? Why not reach out? What's the harm? A couple of
yeah.
messages back and forth, and you're right. It did take over a year for us to get together, but we never gave up the commitment to have a conversation, and
Mm,
I'm so happy that we did finally work it out. Um,
mm,
Real quick on how I became Billy. I've always been I've always been little Billy. My dad was Bill, so I was little Billy. But I'm not so little. I'm 6'8". But I had an opportunity I got a new cell phone about, I don't know, 15 years ago. And at the time I was coaching basketball, and one of my coaches with me uh, left me a message, and then he immediately called me back and he said, "Hey, I just heard your message, your voicemail. Who is this guy, Bill Butts?" I don't want to coach with Bill Butts. I don't even want to know Bill Butts. I think he sounds dreary. I want to get back on the court with Billy Butts. And I'm
love
like,
it.
"Geez, I never even noticed. I changed my voicemail from you've reached Billy Butts to Bill Butts." So that's the story. Shout out to Greg Giambanco, a good friend of mine. He
Love
might
it.
be listening in today. He's a heck of a sales guy, heck of a business
Mm,
manager. But he was the one that pushed me to be Billy Butts. So
love it.
I appreciate Greg for all that, and look forward to learning more about how we can help the next generation of salespeople here. So it's gonna be a
Yeah.
fun hour here. It's gonna go quick, but we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. It's the people who know us, right? That love to give us that personality, right? That people want to deal with it, their personality. And so I think right away he saw who you were, and he saw your heart, your passion, right? And he's like, no, you're not Bill, you're Billy. And
Yeah,
I think that's really cool, right? And
yeah, it's
it's
fun.
interesting. People who know me in my life too, they start. People love throwing out fun names. It's fun to have a nickname, and
Yeah,
I think it's good, right? It's healthy, and it makes things fun and engaging. And those who know me call me Davey, right? And I don't mind being Davey.
yeah.
To those who want to throw me a Davey, that's all right. But
Well,
that's
I
awesome,
have
man.
one. I'll pick up one more level. The people that really know me well call me Butsy. And my last name
Hey,
is Butts,
yeah,
Billy Butts. So
there you
Butsy is
go.
my nickname. It has been forever. I've got two daughters. I don't think they love to be called Butsy, but I think they have some fun with it too. So
Love
good
it,
stuff. Really good
love
stuff.
it. Well, let's get right into it. We thought that it would be a good opportunity for you and I on this show to interview each other as a
Sure.
as a way too of not only us demonstrating us getting to know each other too in this live way. We hadn't even met. You and I have not had the opportunity
Yeah.
to even meet and shake our hands together. The testimony of the power of social media.
Yeah.
And the power of engaging through these amazing tools. You and I are going to have a lot of fun, I think, on our first time of meeting each other personally together. I don't know what I think I'm going to be nervous
I know.
when
I
I
think
meet
so
you for the
too.
first time.
I I think we'll let the listeners tell us who's going to pay, who's going to buy dinner, right? It could be a little
Yeah,
competition there, who's going to
yeah,
buy the first bottle of wine or the first
right.
tequila, whatever it is.
You're 6'8", I'm 6'3", so it's
Yeah,
not too often I meet someone taller than me. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's very humbling for me, Billy.
there we go,
So
there we
you,
go.
you, you know
Awesome.
you're bigger than life, man. I love you. I love you. This is so good.
Yeah,
Um, well, let's have some fun
yeah,
together, and let's talk a little bit together through this interview process as we get to know each other, and of course our
sure.
audience gets to know us a bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean,
so
let's get into it. How about Dave? Why don't
yeah.
you tell us a little bit how you got into the snow and landscape business? I mean,
Oh man.
I've heard the story, but I think the listeners would learn a lot from how you got into it.
And that's the beauty of this show and why we're doing it, because everything has a beginning. And I love that we can share our stories, and it's all ground up stories, bottom up stories. So much of our industry, right, is homegrown, right, and our roots are much like many of others in our industry, where it started on a dream, a bicycle and some clients when I was in high school. And so I
Hmm.
was 15 years old, and I started on my bicycle, and then my brother joined along, and the two of us were riding our bikes. cutting grass for homeowners. And the story just continued from there. Dad, I always we grew up in a family business, like a business mindset family, and on a very entrepreneurial background. Both my folks are immigrants, and Dad just said, do something, do what you want to do, and he encouraged us to start this business. And so flyers in the neighborhood, and then once I got my driver's license, I was pulling a trailer behind a car, and when I was 19, I was real excited to get our first truck, but Dad said, no, finish your schooling, make sure that, you can always get a truck. He's like, Ford and GM are making trucks every day. He's like, so don't worry if you don't get a truck this year, because they're making them every day. So like, settle down, right? I was like a horse in the gates ready to go, right? And he taught temperament in that, which was really good, right? Always good to be tempered. But I got that first truck when I was 21. And just launched it from there, and have been systematically growing it since then with Paul. And it's just been quite a journey of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? And course correcting along the way, learning as we're going. And it started residentially, and we grew quite large in the residential side through maintenance and design build services. I've sold millions of dollars of design build. But over the years, Paul and I, we were continuing to grow the organization from a maintenance perspective and a snow perspective. And we started plowing snow in 1999. And so in those early 2000 years, that was when we really started cultivating our commercial client base and really growing our commercial maintenance services. So, and we got to a point really at around 2018 where we said, we need to make a decision. Where are we going from here? And the decision was, we're moving forward, fully focused on commercial grounds and snow management. The story starts back in 2013 when we first made our trip to SIMA. We got to know SIMA, and that was an amazing story of our first trip to It was our first trip to the U.S. To really explore the industry that we wanted to grow into. And so we went to SIMA, didn't know anything about it. Flew to Minneapolis. That was our first SIMA show. And it was the worst time of the year to go for us. It was the third week of June. I mean, in the landscape industry, what business owners leave their business to not only leave their business, leave it to your staff for the first time ever. We'd never done that before. And we got on an airplane and flew away from the company. We trusted our staff. We flew away, and we in that moment in 2013 came back from Minneapolis very clear that Garden Grove was going to be a commercial grounds and snow management company. And the history starts there, and then we had to really move out of the residential side. That took some time. And so that really was 2018 by the time we wrapped that up. And from there it was, okay, now we got to grind and rebrand and now really move forward as Garden Grove Commercial Grounds. And so that's our story from 2018, 19, 20 and onward. Wow. So it's quite a background of over 30 years of being in the industry, and of course that's the summary right there. But that's the whole of it.
And for those of us geographically challenged, where is home relative to the United States?
Yeah, good question.
So caught me off guard a little bit.
Right. So geographically, Great Lakes, right? We're in the Great Lakes region. We're west of Toronto, so we're just on the western shores of Lake Ontario in what we call the Western GTA. Nice. So in the Golden Horseshoe. So we're all the GTA West here. And so I'm currently in Burlington, Ontario right now, the home of where our business started. And we're currently based in Hamilton, but where the business started, it was in Burlington. Yeah.
Great. And what is your role with Garden Grove? I know you just mentioned your brother. I know from talking to you, your brother has a certain role, but what is your role with Garden Grove?
Yeah. So one thing that we established early on was that my role would be the president of the company. Paul's role is vice president. And so, but that's where we have a real yin and yang with each other. My role as president is very much based on the vision, the focus, the direction of where we're going as an organization, and what the future is. Paul is a wonderful aid to that, because he then takes the vision, he takes the plan, and he implements the plan and then puts it together. So I'm the why. I help with the why, and then he embraces the why and puts it together with our team, because they're the ones who do the how, and I stay out of the how.
Yeah. So the classic example of sales and operations being on the same page. Right. I think there's probably some some truth to that in any business that we have,
That's
whether
right.
it's landscape and snow management or, building
Yeah.
widgets, sales and operations has to be on the same page. So the fact that you and your brother are leading both of those pillars is pretty exciting.
But as president of the company, I'm responsible for sales. I'm responsible for our marketing. I'm responsible for
Sure.
what needs to happen as we
Yeah.
continue to grow the organization. So that's why sales for me is such a huge thing. It's an
Yeah.
area I've always been involved in, and it's an area I've always led, and and working with our clients 100%. So that's a big part of my functional role
Yeah.
as it relates to the day to day and the business. And Paul's again
So
implementation with the team.
that's a great segue into my next question. So we got to know each other. I think the call was like a couple of schoolgirls trying to tell stories to each other. It was like who could get the most words in the first 20 minutes, and I think it was led by passion, right? You could just hear
Yeah.
it. What is your passion as it relates to sales and client relations? What gets you up every morning?
Wow, that's a great question, and I think it's one that we all as sales leaders need to answer. My passion personally is people, engaging with people, and if you don't love people, you can't be in sales. And business is a grind, and even like this live segment we're doing right now, there's things that'll happen, there's mistakes, there's things that won't go well. But what is the thing that gets us up every day, right, to keep going? And
Mhm.
for me, it's about doing better. It's about providing a better service, a better quality service, a better client experience, right? And just making sure that we are doing what we are called to do as an organization for our clients. And
Mhm.
so that's the get up and go. The get up and go
Mhm.
is the follow through, the daily follow through of our commitment, right? And
Mhm.
it's a better way of saying it is just, it's a can't fail mindset, right? It's a every day coming into the day, getting up with a can't fail mindset, right? That we're
Love
going
it.
to win. I mean, you talk about
Love it.
this too as an organization, right? Winning the day,
Yeah. Win the day. Got
and
to do it.
right, it's so good, right?
I
And
have a
so
I
that's
have
for
a
me. That's the goal.
great
The get up and
enjoyment
go.
when I get up in the morning and it's a nice sunny day, a crisp day or a
Yeah.
winter day, and sending that text out to my sales team or account managers, win the day, and then seeing the thread come back, let's do it.
Mm,
It starts
yeah.
everything off in the right spot. We have a good friend of mine,
Yeah.
Matt Pierce, who runs a great building envelope maintenance company, and he and I walk occasionally in the morning, and we're always taking pictures of the sunrise wherever we are, and it's just the way to start the day. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
David, if you could go back and what would you share with the young David,
Mm.
and what would be something that you would give that as some sort of advice?
Oh man, wow. That's an amazing question, and I think it's a really important one, and it's one that I wish I could go back
Yeah.
and talk to myself, 20 years ago even. The one thing is the word focus, right? Staying focused, being focused. I
Mhm.
think that is, especially for us in the industry, there's so much opportunity within our industry. And we all, as professionals, as industry professionals, we all have the things that we're passionate about. My challenge back then was I was passionate about so much. I had so much that I was excited and passionate about. Problem was I couldn't do it all.
Mhm.
When they say the world's your oyster, it really is, but you got to really focus on the things that you're going to do really well. And so if I could go back, it would be to tell myself to be focused, to tell
Yep.
myself to choose the things that I know we will do really well at, and then just really go at those things. Be dedicated and focused to those things. So if I could do one thing, do it really well. That's what I would tell myself. Choose the things, the one or two or three things that we're going to do really well and focus in on them, which now today for us, of course, is commercial grounds, landscape enhancements and snow
Mhm.
removal, right? When we break it down into the categories for us now, it's very focused, very clear, commercial grounds, you know, and
Nice.
landscape enhancements and snow removal. That's it. And it's for clients that are commercial background and commercial properties, commercial assets
Mhm.
only. There's no
Yep.
residential in that mix, unless it's a large HOA property, a condo. We still
Sure.
have some niche services that we provide there,
Mhm.
but yeah, it is really focused, and that is
That's
what I would
great.
tell myself. Yeah,
That's a great answer.
yeah,
Real quick,
well,
what do you like to do outside of work? I've heard what you do, but
yeah,
tell the listeners what you like to do
gee,
outside of work. You got a little bit of a
yeah.
background there and some music.
I do, and it's funny. Everything in life, we need to have the things that are that work-life balance, right? I believe in working hard. I believe in going at it 24/7. It's right. It never stops, right? But we have to have those balances. And for me, it's family. Family's huge for me, right? My kids are my therapy. My wife, my kids, right? Just coming home, right? Is such a wonderful thing, right? And so really having that balance with them, and it's an area that I have neglected in the past as a business owner too, right? So for me, one of those things I really enjoy doing right now is connecting, engaging with family. But personally, uh, the second thing is music. I'm a musician, and I
Mm,
love playing with the band. I do a lot with the church, with the band and the worship music at church, and that's been a big part of my life, big part of my history. I'm a
mm,
classical musician, but I went fully into to basically rock. It's rock music. I mean, it's pop
yeah,
rock. It's very exciting, very contemporary, and
yeah.
so I love doing music on all levels. And so I've had the opportunity to open for some large American bands in the past,
Wow.
and that was a lot of fun. And so yeah, the music scene is huge for me. Love music, and yeah, just
Now,
love being
I'm
engaged
I'm
with the
guessing that
band. Yeah,
somewhere along the line on one of these segments, we're going to get a video clip. So we just
yeah,
we'll keep that in the corner
there,
pocket for sure.
something's gonna show up, right? Yeah, there you go.
Somewhere,
That's good.
somehow, someone's
I
going to
love
get
it.
slip one of those video of you
Oh man.
playing. So that's awesome. Well, good stuff. Good.
Well,
Really appreciate it.
this is a great time for us to do the same, right? And to talk through your background in history, Billy. I mean, you've just really impressed me with who you are, right, as a person, right? Your passion for people, right? And for me, you're just one of these guys who's got this off the charts, um, passion and talent for people and for life. That's just what I see in you. And anyways, I just want to hear a bit about your background and how you guys started in this because you've been doing this for
Yeah.
quite a while as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my background is I grew up, around the green industry. I didn't live too far from a golf course near my house, and as a kid, I was interested in sports, but I think I was more interested in equipment and other things. So as a youth, I spent some time around the golf course and found my way to get a position with the greens crew. They had seven sand traps on the golf course, and the superintendent paid me $1 a sand trap to rake them. So it took
Wow.
me, somewhere around 2 or 3 hours, and I got $7. But I got to drive around in a golf cart at 15 years old, and I thought it was pretty cool. So that was the true start. But from there, I kept the passion burning for landscaping and worked for a couple of local landscape companies. And when I graduated college, I started my own business. I ran that for about 7 or 8 years, and realized that I had a bigger vision than just dispatching crews and writing estimates and chatting with people. I wanted to get more involved into a bigger organization. So I made a move and found my way to a company I worked with 15 years, Waverly Landscape Associates, and that was really the foundation for my experience as a business leader. I spent a lot of time learning there. I joined Paul Tossi, who was an unbelievable owner and friend. He gave me the keys to learn. He just said, Billy, if you want to go do it. And supported everything I wanted to do. And it was a great mentor, a great leader. Wasn't a terrific, didn't have a ton of landscaping background. He loved the snow industry. So we really would work well together. I love the landscaping and he learned from me, and he loved the snow and I learned from him. So I too, just like your Simon story, I spent a lot of time
Hmm.
with Dan Foley at Alcam and just the different conferences and just sitting in on trade show meetings and just sitting as a sponge in the back. What does an account manager do? What does this person do? What is a sales? And that was me as a sponge, as a young man with a young family, just trying to get to the next step. What was the next step for me?
Yeah.
So I spent quite a few years with Paul, and then subsequently they sold out to Valley Crest, which was a great experience for me. I learned a lot from that, being with a national company. I honestly, I never knew what the word pipeline meant. I heard it for the first time in a sales meeting in California. I turned to the guy next to me. Someone said, "How's your pipeline?" I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He's like, "You don't know what pipeline is?" I'm like, "No." what we did in Waverly was when people called, we went and met with them and we sold them the work. He goes, "You won every job?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, sort of, yeah." He's like, "Oh, I guess you really didn't need a pipeline." So that was a kind of a fun experience to learn and the terminology and some great leaders and mentors at Valley Crest that are still friends of mine today. So that was a blast. But, fast forward, to Outdoor Pride. I joined
Yeah.
Mark about 6 years ago. He was a second generation owner, is a second generation owner of a 35-year brand. And he hired me as the vice president of sales. And I was the vice president of myself. There was nobody else in the sales department. It was just me. He's like,
Mm.
"You're the vice president, but you need to build a department. So in order for you to build a department, you got to go sell something." So I just hit the road, started telling the story, and had an opportunity to really have a good run there with some new business, and grew the business, in the last 6 years quite a bit. And now I have two salespeople working for me, and four account managers that I have some dotted line to. So it's been an awesome run. It's been a blast. Um, I just love it.
Your passion, and I touched on this a moment ago about the off the charts passion that I see, right? Your talents for, your role at Outdoor Pride. I see your passion, and for me, it's a passion for turning other people into leaders.
Mm.
I see that consistently in your role at Outdoor Pride. And just talk a bit about that. You have a real passion for turning people into leaders. You're such a
Yeah.
coach and mentor. Like you have that real coach and mentor mindset. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time, I'm a huge sports fan. I spend a lot of time thinking about business as if it was a sport.
Mm,
And I think as a coach in sports, your sole responsibility is to win games, right? So
hmm
business is a team sport. We have open book management, Outdoor Pride. So we talk a lot about team. We have a hashtag one team. But that's always been part of who I was, who I am. And my goal is to help people get better. If they grow,
mm,
we grow, right?
mm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a lot about why I wanted to, I was excited about this podcast because I think that, the tide rises all boats, right? So if I help
Mm,
my account managers, I help the business developers, I help, the branch managers, the owner, whoever I can help, it's only going to help
mm,
the business and ultimately going to help me. So that's pretty much, my role every day is coaching and mentoring the next generation, the young leaders we have. We have a very talented, but a very young group of managers that probably haven't seen everything that I've seen. Like I
mm,
said, I've made a lot of mistakes. I got a lot of bumps and bruises from the industry, but I've also learned that when you stub your toe on that end table,
mm,
I guarantee you probably only have done it once, right? If you've done it
mm.
twice, then you're really mad. So I'm out there trying to keep our team from stubbing their toe, trying to do things the right way. Hold up the integrity of their own personal brand, hold up the
Mhm.
integrity of the business. We talk a lot of times, don't ever sacrifice the brand, right? Whatever you're doing,
That's
the
right.
brand,
That's right.
protect the brand, protect the brand. So
That's right.
that's a lot of what I do every day, and I have a lot of fun doing it. I love people. I love being around people. A lot of times I spend time with customers. We talked earlier that a lot of times we don't even talk business. We go play golf. We don't talk business once. We're just getting to know each other. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's kind of what I like about the role I have.
Well, and that leads me to my next question is, tell us a little bit about your passion for as it relates to sales and customer relations, right? My observation of you, right? You for me got one of these top type stories, right, about the sales and customer experience, and for me, it's one of the most amazing stories you have as well. As so, talk a bit about your passion as it relates to customer and sales relations.
Yeah, I touched on it a little bit. I mean, when I
Yeah.
get up in the morning, I love what I do. I've never felt like I worked a day in my life. I mean, it sounds like a kind of a cliche, but it's really true with me. Um, just talking to people, coaching
hmm
people. What I've learned over the last, 10 years or so, our industry has transitioned. The managers in our industry, commercial managers, have transitioned to a younger generation. Call them millennials, call them whatever you want to call them. I just think they're just young in their experience. I don't think there's anything different than the managers we dealt with 20 years ago. But those managers 20 years ago might have been doing it their whole career. These young managers are coming out of college. as psychology majors, which, by the way, is probably the best degree to have in property management.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I get up and I meet with these customers, these potential customers, I spend a lot of time. I feel like I spend a lot of time teaching them about the industry.
Mhm.
I don't think there's I'm besides belonging to CIMA or Alcam, there's not a way for these managers to learn landscape and snow management. They have to learn it from us. They have to learn it from
Such a
the
good point.
vendors. So
Yeah.
if we as vendors can teach them, I think that kind of is like the special sauce, just teaching them how to be
Yeah.
great managers.
Yeah.
And ultimately that sort of creates the partnership, right? The two-way
Yeah.
street, as they say. So
That's
that
right.
to me is, I spend a ton of time educating, communicating, and teaching these managers how to be successful. Similar to
Yeah.
my team,
Yeah.
teaching my team how to grow. I like to see property managers. I've seen many, many property managers in my career. This is my 37th year. I've seen managers go from junior managers to, senior executives to business owners. That's kind of like, that's my ether. That's what gets me up in the
Yeah.
morning.
Love it. Love it. Seeing people grow, right?
Yeah.
Teaching and helping others grow, right?
Yeah.
If and I think that's something we're going to touch on more, and we'll talk a little bit more about it on this episode, and as it relates to the customer experience as well, and then we'll of course develop in subsequent episodes.
Mm.
Talk a little bit about what that similar question, like what would you tell yourself, 20, if you could go back that similar time frame, 20 years or so or whatever, what would you tell a younger Billy? What would you tell
Oh,
that younger, tall, 6'8" Billy?
oh, stop friggin' talking. Stop talking and start listening.
Yeah,
I would go to a family party and it would be the Billy Butts in the corner telling everybody what they wanted to know about landscaping and then some. I was just so en- engaged with landscaping when I was a young man and into my early years in business management. I was just talking too much. Just
yeah,
stop talking and listen more. Listen to the
jeez,
customer. The customer will give you the answers to the quiz. The employees will tell you what they want to do. You just got to listen to them. I spent a lot of time with working for Valley Crest. I spent a lot of time with Roger Zeno, great mentor of mine, and he said, "Two ears, one mouth."
hmm,
Just listen, Billy. Just listen. He
yeah,
shut me down a
yeah,
couple of times, and rightfully so. I was just rambling. He says, "I don't even know what you said for the last 5 minutes. I wasn't even listening because you just talked too
you
much."
know,
And he shocked me. It was like shock and awe. And I was like, "No, he's right." So I would say the
mhm,
biggest thing I would tell my younger self is listen. I think I did listen, but I wasn't always paying attention. Listening and paying attention would be
mhm.
definitely a message I would give the younger Billy Butts.
Yeah, isn't that such a good point? And that's one that I had to learn as well. In and understanding awkward silence is okay. To
Mm,
not feel like I needed to fill dead air. When
mhm.
I was with a client, right, and not selling to them, right, but selling with them, and yeah,
Mhm.
listening. Dad said the same thing, right? Two ears, one mouth, and
Yeah.
allow the customer to share, right? Let them talk, let them share, and
Yeah.
ask better questions, right? And so better
Amen.
questions,
Yeah.
better listening. Yeah, so true, eh? Hey,
Yeah.
you talked a bit about golf. I know you love the outdoors. A little bit about
Yeah.
just what you like to do when you're not at work.
Yeah. I mean, it's the outdoors is who we are. So
Yeah.
naturally, growing up on a golf course and being around golf was quite a bit of my life. I kept it going for a bit there, and I put it on pause when I went to college and played ball, and actually had to sell my golf clubs to buy books when I went to college. I didn't
Mm,
realize you went to college and it was so expensive, and then you got there and there was another $500 for books, so I had to sell my ping eyes to buy books as a freshman. So, but yeah, I love golf. I love family time. My wife and I love to get out, get on the beach. I have two daughters, 26 and 28. We play. I play a little bit of golf with my youngest daughter. My oldest daughter is a season ticket holder for the Patriots. So we have a passion to get down there as a family and with clients to see the Patriots. Hopefully they turn it around. They had a good run there for a bit. They're in a little rebuild right now, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just being around being around great people, hanging out, telling stories. That's just being outside is a big part of is what I like to do outside of work.
Well, it's the stuff that fuels us, right?
Yeah,
We
for
need to
sure.
sometimes we need the cup. We give as sales professionals we give so much of ourselves every day, right? To our clients, to our team, right? And so it's really important too, right, that we have those times to refill our buckets, refill our cups,
Yeah,
and
recharge for
recharge,
sure.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally right. You know, yeah, you want to say
Yeah,
anything
no, I was
further
just
on
gonna
that?
say it's important.
Yeah,
It's where you can it's again a sports analogy. The
yeah,
teams always appreciate the bye week, right? So the bye week
mhm,
is a time to recharge. It's a time to look in the mirror. It's a time to reflect. I think as salespeople, we go with our head down, and a
yeah,
lot of times we forget to stop and pause and recharge. So when we go into that
yeah,
next meeting or the next engagement, we're at our best.
mm,
I
mm,
think the sports analogy, the off season, you get a chance to revisit, your best, your successes and some of your struggles, and you can make
mhm,
corrections over the off season and then get
yeah.
after it at the start of the new season. So I love that. Um, what about sharing some information with our listeners? Because I know that's probably enough about us. But
Yeah, yeah.
something I thought would be great to kick off today is to you know, just the sales experience, right?
Mhm,
Just maybe you could give us a kind of a high level look at the sales experience. I know we're going to take these subjects and kind of break them down further
mhm,
throughout the
mhm.
different podcasts, but just for today's listeners, let what do we think about what's your evaluation of the sales experience, the customer experience?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it's timely right now that it's spring, right? We're coming off the winter, and we're on spring startup, right? And a lot has happened in the last 5 months in our businesses, right? With winter, and now we're rolling right into another season. It's spring. I feel like for our customers, right? For our property manager clients, there's a lot that happens, right, in each season. And I think it's really important that we understand our roles as sales professionals, as account managers, business developers, that we don't get too far ahead of things and assume that they're okay still with what happened over here. We're all gung ho right now for the spring, but what happened? What happened the last 5 months? What happened the
Mm,
last 2 months? What happened the last month? And I think it's really important that we continue to we talk about having empathy as business leaders, right? Empathy for our staff, empathy for people in our lives, and I think we have to at times we got to put on those shoes of our clients, and we got to put ourselves in their place and really ask ourselves like what are their needs right now? What are their questions? What was
mm,
their experience? What is their experience even with us as an organization?
mm,
And ensure that we're coming into their lane, not bringing them into our lane, but making sure that we're coming into their lane and really support them. So what are we
mm.
doing right now to support our clients? What are we doing to engage our clients from the past winter? Did we already engage them this past winter? If we didn't, now's a good time, right,
Yeah,
to really get engaged and connect with our clients. It should have happened already, but if it hasn't, now's the perfect time. And ask, how did things go, right?
yeah,
What is your experience with our organization?
there it is.
How, is there anything we can do to improve? And so we've gone through a whole winter season, and now we're getting ready to go into the spring season. So
Hmm.
I think it's important that we properly go through the seasons with our clients so that their
Yeah,
experience with us, right, with our organizations,
sure.
is exceptional. I think that word exceptional can
Yeah.
be used because it should be exceptional. If it's not, they're going to find someone else where it is exceptional. And
Yeah, that's a
so
that's
I
a
think
great
it's really
point.
important we talk about that.
That's a
Yeah,
great point. Like we don't win new work unless it's a brand new building that you're involved with from the development of the ground up, and you'll take over the maintenance of snow management. Our new work is somebody else's work that they lost.
that's right. That's
So
right.
if we're not taking care of the customer experience, if we're not respecting. I had a customer tell me one time that was what was some pain points of the last. They didn't respect me.
Hmm.
The former
Hmm.
vendor didn't respect them when they asked for something. They didn't follow up. They
That's
didn't.
right.
That's a recipe for disaster. If you don't follow up with a customer, if you don't
Yeah,
give them the time of day when they're asking for it at that time, if the
yeah,
customer is taking the time to reach out to you, they don't want to wait 2 or 3 days.
That's
Never
right.
make a customer ask you for the same thing twice, right?
Yeah,
If they're
that's
asking
right.
you, that's all they have to do. They ask you, and that's your responsibility.
Yeah,
It's like tag, you're it.
yeah,
Get that
yeah.
information back to them. So I think
Hmm.
respecting the customer, developing
Hmm.
that mutual respect where they respect us as vendors and the investment we make in our teams and our equipment to do great work. Respect
Hmm.
them for who they are. They might not be the
That's right.
best manager. They might not be the most easy manager to work with. They might be difficult,
Yeah,
but by you got to respect them. They're
so true,
paying
right?
you for all the money
Yeah,
that they're paying us. I think there's a
that's right.
level of expectation to say, I give you all this money, just call me
Yeah,
back. I mean, I don't
yeah.
think it's ever been said that way, but I think it might be implied sometimes where people are like,
Well,
I don't know who these guys think they are. They got $1 million of my money. I
yeah,
just want an email. I want an update. So that's
right.
something I think is important in the customer experience is to offer a level of respect.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and I know we're going to have listeners, maybe not now, but maybe in the future that aren't in the snow and landscape industry. I think a lot of the stuff we talk about is very transferable. I think a lot of the
Yeah,
stuff that we are talking about today might be directly relative to
yeah.
our industries. But I think, there's a lot of service industries that deal with customer experience, that deal with customers at a high level. They deal with, conflict resolution. Um,
Hmm.
it's not very different. I bet if
No.
you could, pull the name of the organization or the industry out and replace it with another, I think the principles would be very similar.
Yeah, agreed. When we look at the investment, right? You bring up the amount of money that they're
Mm,
paying us as organizations, and it's truly right for any service industry, right? That's engaged providing a
mm,
service. We need to understand our role as recipients of this money that this investment. What's the ROI that our clients are looking for? Right? They're investing in our
mm,
organizations. We need to help them understand what they're getting in return. And
mm,
if we're not providing a proactive relationship, right, it comes down to the proactive communication, right,
mhm,
proactive selling. I'm just touching on these things, and we'll unpack these things in further episodes. But we need to show the level of respect that you touched on. We expect them to respect us. Well, in turn, what are we demonstrating to our clients? What level of respect are we showing when we're not communicating? When
right,
we're not sharing information, when
right.
we're not following through, when we're not answering their calls or emails or requests for service. It's very important, and so it's a real hot item.
Mm,
They are investing in us, and it's their largest expenditure for their property maintenance and
100%,
snow, next to
100%.
roof and HVAC and plumbing
Yep,
and electrical. Right, the
yeah,
recurring cost of maintenance and snow
energy.
is ex is
I th
extraordinary.
I think I had a property manager tell me that snow was his top line, his second line was energy. So behind the,
Yeah.
electrical, gas, they're paying for the most, which they can't control any of that. That just comes to them and they just write a check. But I think we talked in a couple of times about people
Hmm.
do business with people they trust and enjoy.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I think we'll definitely get into it in other segments, but how do you build trust with a customer? What's the best way
Mm.
to build trust with a customer? And how is that? What does that look like? What is it a customer trusting you look like? What does it feel like? And
Mm.
I think it goes to the point where they are entrusting us with a lot, especially on the safety side of things. Right? They've got a corporation, and we work for Fortune 100 companies that have millions and millions of dollars invested in their inventory, their trucking, their everything, and they say, here you go, Outdoor Pride. Just make sure that these trucks can come and go all day. Because if they don't,
Yeah.
we could lose whatever. That's a lot
Yeah.
of trust. So
Yeah.
what is that? How do you get there? Right. And I
Mm.
think we're going to
It's a
probably do a
great
whole
point.
segment on how to get the trust of your customers and your clients and your prospects. But
Agreed.
I think the business that we're in, um, we are the face of the company. Business developers. I know we're talking a lot about sales,
Yeah.
but account managers are the face of our companies. They sometimes are all the customer sees ever. They meet account managers, they
Yeah.
meet a business developer, and that's who they think Garden Grove is, Outdoor Pride is. So how do we engage or empower these individuals to present the veneer of the trust and the confidence and stuff? We got to coach them up. And then what happens when that account manager or business developer gets a little beat up, right? Because they're going to get beat up, right? Everybody has good days, bad days. What do we do to pick them back up? I think that's a big responsibility in the sales process. Is, what is it? 30% is a great close rate. So 7 out of 10 people are telling you no. How does that
Mhm.
feel? How's that job? Well, Bill, you're going to have a job as a salesperson, and starting tomorrow, 7 out of 10 people are going to tell you no.
Mm.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I want to do that. So, what are the young salespeople in our industry thinking when they get that kind of news, right? Maybe they don't even know that that's what it is. Maybe it's lower than that. I mean, ours is pretty 30% is pretty good, but I think some people might only close at like 10%. So
Yeah.
that to me is something I think this show and this podcast could help some of those young salespeople get over that hurdle of,
Yeah.
how come so many no's and why so few
That,
yeses,
that, that's right. And it all comes down to pre-qualifying, right? And having better qualification processes. You touched on people like to do business with people, right? That they know, right, and trust. And it's just so important that we understand that people do business with people, right? And
Mm.
so this is the root of the successful client relationship.
Hmm.
If we're not understanding that, it's going to be a transactional relationship as opposed to a relationship driven relationship, right?
Yeah, amen.
And so
True.
it's really important that we have relationships with our clients that are not transactional based, right? And that we are face to face with our customers, that that trust comes from us being there with them.
Hmm.
It builds trust when you demonstrate follow through, right? What's the follow through? What's the value even, right? When we talk about being value driven organizations, right?
Hmm.
What's the value of having a trusted partner, right? We use these words, right, in our marketing. We use these words well, what does it mean to be a trusted
Hmm.
partner? Right? What does it mean to be value driven? So we have to make sure that what is the follow through of being a trusted partner? And it's important that it's about following through on the phone calls, following through on the information, following through on being a leader, following through on being transparent when we make mistakes. Letting our clients know that we're there for them through and through, right? That they know that
Mm.
we've got their back. And when mistakes happen, they'll happen. But our customers understand that we're not perfect. The
Mm.
bar is excellence, right? Perfection is a not a right. Nobody's perfect, but we got to
Mm.
look to how can we be excellently like what is an excellent driven, right, organization. And so it starts with the relationship. It starts with not hiding behind email.
Mm.
It starts with being out front with the client. And I always like to say email's great for information, but
Yeah.
pick up the phone, right?
Oh, yeah.
And use it for communication, right? So email for information, phone for communication. And we have a process in our organization: get in front of the client, see the white of the eyes, face to face,
Yeah.
right? And that
Mm.
is so critical with site walks and site meetings.
It's funny. I have a quote on my wall over here. Um,
Mm,
it's exceed detailed preparation, exceed expectations, relentless follow through,
mm,
and it's right on top. I've carried it around with me every job. I think it's just printed on a piece of paper. It's like it's in 30 font. The
yeah.
problem is I can't see it from here because of my glasses, but I think I had it memorized. But that to me feels like kind of like the um, diagram, the starting point for a great salesperson is to,
Mm-hmm,
really be super prepared. Once you get to the customer, exceed their expectations, and
mm-hmm.
then just relentless follow through. Like just
That's right.
crush it
That's
with
right.
follow through,
That's right.
right? So if you're a business developer, if you're an account
Mm-hmm,
manager, listen today. If you had an opportunity to meet with a customer and your follow through was, grade your follow through. Personally grade yourself. How did that go?
mm-hmm,
If it
mm-hmm.
didn't go, if you weren't super excited about the follow through, then make sure the next time you have that opportunity, because you're going to have it every time. Every sales engagement allows you to follow through.
Yeah.
So just relentlessly follow through, and I think that is a little bit of a stepping stone to building that trust.
It's so true. And we have to remember that our role is to come alongside and support, right? We need to come alongside our clients and support them, right? What does every property manager, what does every business owner, what does every asset manager need out there, facility manager? They want to feel supported. They want to know that the company they've hired is supporting them. We have to remember that our roles as sales professionals and account managers is to coach, right? Like you said, right? Coach our you mentioned this earlier, right? Coach and educate and train our clients up, right? Help and provide them with the information they need. Mentor, right? Our role as sales professionals is to mentor our clients, and even the sales process is very much a coaching and mentoring type process, right?
Yeah.
But and so as a result, it's very consultative, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we need to remember that our role as experts, really at the end of the day, because we are the experts, we need to remember that our role is consultative in prospecting, but also with working with our existing clients. We are the professionals, the experts. We are the consultants, and we need to make sure that we always have that hat on.
Well, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
we could talk about this for hours, but here we are creeping up on 1 hour. That was a fast,
Oh man, already?
55 minutes we're in here. So,
Yeah.
thanks to our team that helped put us together. You and I
Mhm.
are admittedly technology challenged at times. So we've got a great team of people that have helped us put this thing together. It's going to get better, continuous improvement, as Bill Belichick says. Let's always try and get better. But what's coming up for the next show? What do we got? What do we got coming up? We're going to do these once a month, right? So the first
That's
Thursday of
right.
every
That's right.
month when it works, without
That's right.
holiday conflicts or some other stuff. So I think,
Yeah,
the
and we'll
next
keep
show is going to be
communicating.
May 9th, which is
Yeah.
1 o'clock, May 9th. What are we going to talk
Yep.
about? What's on that? What's on the
Yeah.
agenda for
So
that day?
stay tuned on LinkedIn. We're going to talk sales process. So I think it's really
Great.
important we talk sales process, new business, and also existing. So the sales process has a hunter component to it, right? There's hunting in sales process, and then there's farming, right? So we're going to talk about the hunting and farming process as it relates to the sales process. And again, how are we delivering an exceptional customer experience in that process? And so that's the next episode. Looking forward to unpacking the sales process together and tools, right, for the
Yeah.
toolbox. That's the goal, right? And if we can all go home, if I can go home even from today with one bit of information learned from you, right, that's
Yeah.
the goal.
No, just the
So
sales process is
yeah,
so important. I think, as leaders, I think a lot of us have sales processes, but how many of us follow them, right? They're written
yeah,
somewhere, they're documented, they're in, some file in some folder. But it's not always following that process. That takes commitment. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that, because I know I'm one that, big ideas, I'm sort of a 30,000-foot guy. I need people that work with me and alongside me to help me stay on track with process, because I do veer off. So I'm excited to learn and
well,
and listen more. And I think, the theme of this show, just to give a little bit more of a look behind the curtain, is we want to bring some guests on, right? So the next show will
yeah.
just be you and I, but I think the third show, we're going to bring some guests, and we'd love to hear from the listeners today. If there's anything that you loved about the show, or if there's anything you thought you would have heard or you'd want to hear, drop us a note in LinkedIn. You know how to get both of us on LinkedIn. We got a page that we can follow now. We've got a LinkedIn page for the Sales Talk Show. We've got some Instagram, and Twitter is going to be up in a bit. So it's just going to be sharing information. We just want to, our goal is to help the next generation of salespeople and to help the generation that's working with us and around us right now to grow and
Mhm.
get to that next
Mhm.
level.
That's right. That's right. So we're
Yeah.
excited at Sales Talk Show, everything. And today, to get this kick started, it was a great way to get going here on April,
Yeah.
the first episode here in April. Just want to make sure that everyone knows that any questions you wanted to ask today, if you've submitted questions, we'll certainly get back to you on those. And then in the subsequent episodes, right? Ask questions and then engage. We want to really help you and do whatever we can. That's the goal of the show. Is to
Yeah.
help, to coach, right, to share, and to really like Billy said, right, we want to get everybody all boats float higher, right, when the tide rises,
Yeah. Right. The
right.
tide rises all boats.
That's right. I like that.
All right, great
So
guys.
this has
That's
been
going to
great.
wrap it up for
So
today. Yeah, it's a great show. A lot of fun doing it with you.
Yeah.
I look forward to the next one, and appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate everybody taking time out of their day, and it will be able to be listened to back on LinkedIn once the show's done. I think it takes a little bit of time, but if you didn't catch us today, you'll probably catch it at another point. Appreciate everybody.
Very good. Awesome. Take care.
Have a great one. Cheers.